Hello, it's Rachel here again. The other day I was listening to a very interesting ex-Mormon podcast, and he's actually still a current Mormon was being interviewed. He's sort of a Mormon apologist, but of a more liberal kind, and ones like himself seem to be moving away from the idea or the teaching that the Mormon church is the only true church on earth. Even though it came out later on that he felt that the church still was the true church because they were the only ones that had the ordinances, which I'm not really sure what that is. I think it's all the temple stuff. And he seemed to think that that was necessary, yet he also seemed to feel that other churches, other Christian groups, had some good to offer. And this made me think a little bit about the Jehovah's Witness organisation and things that the governing body members have said lately regarding the organisation. Just in the July broadcast, Anthony Morris stated that the organisation is not perfect. There are no perfect organisations, he said, but it's the best imperfect organisation, he said. And not that long ago, I think it was November 2016, the broadcast, and Garrett Loesch said exactly the same thing, that there is, I believe it was Garrett Loesch, said that the organisation isn't perfect, there's no perfect men on earth, and quoted some mysterious older brother who said it's the best imperfect organisation. So I'm supposing that they're saying this in response to all the negative media publicity that's come out in the last few years, especially with the child sexual abuse, and they cannot ignore it, because it's fact. So I guess they're trying to whitewash it with that, well, we're imperfect kind of thing to excuse themselves. But, witnesses, the publications of witnesses have always stated that, Jehovah's Witnesses, the organisation, is the only true Christian organisation on earth today, and that all other Christian groups are false or weeds. And when they start saying that their organisation is imperfect and it's the best imperfect organisation, aren't they kind of lumping their organisation in with all the other false ones, the ones they call false? So really putting themselves in the same grouping with them. How can they stand out as being the only true Christian organisation when they have the same kind of imperfections as the other religious organisations that they condemn as false and as weeds, and whose members are bundled up for the fire of Armageddon? So I just have to wonder, with them saying these things, are they moving away from the teaching, or do they plan to move away from their teaching that they are the only true Christian organisation on earth, and that all true Christians have to be part of that organisation in order to survive Armageddon? Perhaps they could move over to a view where perhaps there are true and false Christians in all the different organisations. Because when you think about it, Jesus didn't say that he would return and judge organisations, did he? He said individuals will be judged according to their deeds. So, these individual true Christians could be scattered amongst all the different churches, couldn't they? Jesus said that, the weeds would overgrow the wheat until to the end. Witnesses have always taught that the end started in 1914. Well, in recent history they've taught that. In the early days they said the end was going to end in 1914, that Armageddon would be in 1914. But no, now they say that the end began in 1914 and that true Christians have been harvested from that time on. But that doesn't really add up when you think about it. When you read the scriptures, it seems more likely what they're saying is that the true and false Christians will be separated when Jesus returns for the Great Tribulation. And how can, if 1914 saw the harvest beginning, then how is it that, the harvest is the final collection, isn't it, of the wheat and the weeds? How is it that some can be collected into the congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses and later fall out and leave and return to the ground as a weed, and how can the weeds be harvested and then somehow change into a wheat? It really doesn't make very much sense at all when you think about it. But anyway, I was just thinking, with the governing body members stressing that they're the best imperfect organisation, how can they claim to be the only true Christian organisation on earth? How can they? Anyway, tell me what you think. Bye.